Millions of Americans are affected by mental health conditions every year. With a number of different treatment modalities available, continued research and support is needed to provide the best options for each individual.
The COVID-19 pandemic took a significant toll on both social and mental health needs, especially affecting children, as it presented profound disruptions to young people during a critical period of psychosocial development. Today, many are still feeling the impacts, with a large number of parents reporting increased levels of anxiety and depression in children.
Reports show that anywhere from 70 to 76% of adults around the world were already expressing severe or moderate loneliness, which is quite large. And we see something very similar with kids and teens as well, between 10 and 17, something like that. And of course, with the isolation of the pandemic, it took that trend and just threw gasoline on the fire of it, essentially.
As people are growing and developing, the brain requires certain kinds of inputs to develop normally and in a healthy way. So we understand that there are certain times of life where if you're not exposed to language or you're not exposed to vision, then your brain won't develop normally. Well, the important thing is that social and emotional experiences are similar. So being connected is not just a matter of recreation, it's actually a critical matter of normal development that provides the basis for mental health and well-being right throughout the life.
70% of schools reported an increase in absences across regions and student types. As a result of the pandemic's socio-emotional toll, educators experienced a significant rise in behavioral challenges at school, while parents shared worsening behavioral problems at home.
Kids are obviously spending a lot more time using products like social media, gaming, and other things. This is happening to a certain amount at school, but especially at home, which are interesting because they're not as isolating as things like television. They're actually often experiences that are inherently connected with other kids.
The leading reason people don't seek help for mental health in this country is attitudinal. They're not so sure what it means, if it will work for them, how do I even get started? Never mind the shortage. If you try to get connected to a mental health care professional, it can take weeks, months before you can make that connection and actually have your first appointment.
The demand for mental health services far exceeds the resources provided by the current model of care, leaving parents wondering how to best support their child.
During the pandemic, we did not realize that there were going to be social emotional effects. She was missing her friends, she was missing the events. And then I noticed that her focus in schoolwork started to go down. And so I feel like there are a lot of concerns that parents have when trying to find the right care and support for their children.
For the last 60, 70, even 100 years, mental health care more or less remained unchanged. So with the growth in digital technologies, what we've seen is that mental health care has not kept pace with cultural and technological changes that we all take for granted now. There's an opportunity to use new methods, new media of different kinds.
Now, innovations in technology are providing more engaging, supportive, and preventative alternatives to those who might not otherwise seek or benefit from traditional options.
Your Journey Club is a digital well-being platform that facilitates healing through connection. So for young adults, we provide mental health support groups inside of video games, where we have therapists who will meet them inside these games and talk to them about the things that they're navigating and the challenges that are coming up in their day-to-day life. So we know that a lot of folks spend time in these gaming platforms and they're able to feel more themselves in these platforms than in real life sometimes. And we can take the care to them by contextualizing it, making it possible for folks who live all around the world and all around the US to go meet other people who are similar to them and make it less intense.
Backed by real-time resilience techniques, the program uses the games that teens already know and love to create supportive social spaces and teach practical coping strategies, creating a more comfortable and natural environment for younger generations who are used to spending their time online.
We use the game environment itself to facilitate that kind of shared interaction. The second opportunity that video games offer us is to create scenarios and situations that are less awkward. And the primary way that we accomplish that is by designing ahead of time what the social situation is going to be. We can structure it very carefully in the video game setting. And most importantly, that the learning transfers from the video game setting to real life settings. And there's a variety of strategies and techniques to ensure that something like that will take place.
With carefully designed game worlds, the group-based program provides members with numerous opportunities to apply what they're learning with peers their own age. while solving puzzles and completing missions that reward their efforts.
So Hero Journey Club focuses a lot on the group-based setting because we believe underneath a lot of mental illness is actually loneliness in disguise as well. And so instead of having the entire session be about you and why you're broken and all the trauma that happened to you, what if this is just normal, that we're experiencing this together, and you can learn by hearing other people heal through their own stories, and you can make connections about yourself that you may not have made otherwise because it was so intense and it was so focused on kind of whatever specific topic you're working on.
Integrating socio-emotional learning education into community gaming environments is helping to create an engaging and effective experience for children and teens, their parents, and other adults looking for a place to connect, share common interests, and gain life-enhancing experiences.
The most effective tools in mental health that we have today, they were created in the 50s and the 80s before the internet even existed. And so we hope to take therapy and the best evidence-based resources into the places where they already spend time, and in doing so, create tools for this next generation. Kids today, they don't know how to socialize because the interactions you have in these digital worlds are so different than you'd have in the physical world. And the reality is that as more people spend their time in these virtual spaces, it also has the possibility for us to create really meaningful interactions that otherwise would be really difficult, and you can create so much meaning and so much purpose through these spaces for the goal of healing and for the goal of connection.